So they had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks, in case you weren't paying attention. That's why we look for secondary clues. We need to know which Charles is actually coming through in the event that it is a Charles. So the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us. I hate politics more than anybody here. We're going to move on. Let's talk about Eliza. So it's not Women's History Month, but I'm going to go through it anyway because nobody else does. Keep in mind there's people walking by. There you go. Good job. Andy's coming. Anyway, so Eliza, she married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. What was it?
I heard, what about rights?
What was it?
What about rights?
What about rights? Interesting. Let me give you the layout of the land so that makes a little bit more sense. The mansion actually stood in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up at Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. What about rights? So, again, take that for what it's worth. Anyway, back to Eliza, but it might show up on her device.
Okay.
We never know where it's going to fall. You already got 93 and 45, 2 very prominent specific numbers relative to Eliza Pinckney. So again, we never know where it's going to actually fall.
Okay.
And we didn't even ask the questions yet. But keep in mind, I'm here 6 to 7 nights a week, depending on the weather. She knows what the hell we're going to ask. So again, these are just common questions that we get the answers to. So we have a 10 EMF that's going on with your device right now. Anything higher than that? And Jacob, anything come up on your EMF detector at all?
Okay.
Where this is kind of versus, but I keep getting that too.
Judy.
Proves it. So yeah, let's spread out, continue listening, let him take a gist of how that's actually working out. The same thing goes for you, BRESLIN. Give Bella like the other earbud, let her help you out. So let's get those things recorded and let's see what we got going on.
I need it loud or else I
So
can't
you don't need to show
hear.
me every letter.
I'm also taking this thing up.
Why
Okay. Here, I kept seeing something like
I
right,
actually gave you, I know it
like if you look, wait,
Oh.
like right there
Yeah.
and right here, I keep seeing.
But you don't think that could be shadow?
Yeah, that's, I'm not sure, but I wanted to like at least look at it. Oh, there's people.
Philip. I think Philip was one of their children. I remember that.
Hey, don't forget to ask questions if you want.
You want children's names? And how many children they had.
I can't, it's so hard to focus.
When you hear certain stuff, it's very clear. Like Philip was really clear.
Well, we should probably move so they can
Yeah.
pull out. Let's come this way. Okay, let's go this way towards the trash can. Oh, there's something. But I think that's those tents. I think it's getting those tents right there.
I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's taking the same like 2 or 3 shapes.
Yeah,
Definitely looks like a person.
it's pretty cool. It looks like it's twerking up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it says
Philip. Other children. And how many children were there?
That's like Spanish. number one car dealer.
Number one. They had more than one child, I think. How many children were there? I think it was 3.
You want to walk this way?
I heard
some?
something about first words earlier, too.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
What is that? I think that's just shadows. I want to turn this way. Because that was, I wonder if it's still up there.
This thing I got was a 2.3 in the road. Not quite what we need.
I don't want to
Let me
like.
go talk to him really quick.
Alright. You can take it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to people this now. Things are coming fast. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, you got.
And then we also heard number one car dealer.
I just, if I don't have to, if I can just move this around, I find this very interesting, the audio part.
Keep in mind there were no cars in the 1700s. I'm looking at
Yeah.
number 1. What
Yeah.
question? Were you asking anything specific?
I was asking about the number of children, and we heard number 1 almost immediately.
There was more than 1.
There was more than 1 for sure. I think there was 3. 4?
Okay. If you poke the bear, she'll tell you there was 3. I've been doing this space for 4 years.
Ah, there we go. 64.
64,000. And then you heard what now?
I think I caught the end of 4,000 before.
So what is with the number 64?
I want to listen again. I
wanna
just
listen
can't.
again?
I can't focus enough.
It took some getting used to.
And with your camera, just like he can just hold the belly shot, you have a top handle. Just hold it like a suitcase, nice and still. So, nope. There you go. Look at you. And we still get footage, and you don't have to stare at that all night. This is why I do this way. So that way you guys are a little bit more interactive with just one device.
I asked who was at her funeral, which president I got. Mr. Lee Magic Rings.
Well, when did you ask that, and then when did you guys hear number one car dealer?
A few minutes ago.
When did you ask that question?
Just now. I asked it over there as well, but just now I asked it again.
Because she has the answer.
What did you say?
Number one car dealer.
Number 1 car dealer.
Which president? Number 1.
Ford?
Number 1.
Washington.
Oh, number 1. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing.
Not really. I'm trying to set by people.
Okay.
It seems pretty same temperature for the
That's
most part.
crazy.
It's like that's all done with the cameras.
Interesting. Okay. I knew the number 1 was significant. Okay.
These smaller screens, again, aren't always real time over.
Now, would I see, if I see it, would I see like an even-sized presence, or am I expect to see like a dot or something? Okay.
Either way. I've also found heat anomalies, so I'll find like something growing at
1450.
growing at heat, talking like 10, 12, 14 degrees in a matter of seconds. That means that a cold anomaly is being generated nearby. I still like to focus on the heat anomaly.
So children's names.
Yeah, everything seems to be firm.
Throw them away. No. What were their children's names? I want to know. I don't remember. Not so Volkswagen.
Crap. You might die. Absolutely free. That's all choir music. And we're right next to a church.
Yeah. Did you hear Martha?
I heard he said.
I heard Martha. Was Martha one of the children?
Anything else coming out of your guys' two devices?
We heard.
This number seems crazy, but I asked how many pallbearers and I heard 20.
I don't know that.
We heard.
Oh, I thought that was
14.
the question. What were the questions you wanted to
What
know?
president is a pallbearer?
President was a pallbearer. And then it was, what else did you say, where she got married? Okay, haven't heard that yet.
We heard the number 1450.
Guess what the president, what number was 20?
And I heard Martha.
Where were you married?
And you said, did somebody say 20?
I heard you said
20.
1450 is interesting. The number 14 is the number of years that Charles and Eliza were married. So just interesting by itself that you heard the number 15 with it. Just weird.
Yeah.
So 1450.
$15.
I got a go home, go now. I'm not sure if it's go home, go now. She asked a question about the funeral thing, and I heard like jumbled something would help.
Okay, that's time to call it.
Yeah, I heard. Well, nice talking to you, or something about that
She's done.
earlier.
That's definitely done. Do you want to grab them two for me, Jake?
Honor.
We're gonna go to the back.
oh, cancel recording.
Yeah, go ahead and stop your recordings. Just kind of be very discreet. Again, other tourists do like to come through here. When that does happen, they will come out of that little adult. You guys probably can't see it from your angle, but there's a little separating in the wall. They'll come out of the ivy, and there'll be 20 people coming out of there, plus a tour guide. Yeah. So, welcome to Charleston. We're allowed to go to 20. I just won't do it. We'll split the seas and just let them pass through, and I will stop talking, just so you know. I'll say, all right, two are coming through. You're perfect if you're already recording, and everybody else looks good on the recording end. Even with yours, if you want to kind of turn it behind you to get a nice, cool, like, there you go, hold it upside down, do whatever you got to do. Make it so, that looks awkward. You can make yourself comfortable. So, what have we heard on the spirit? What have we heard on the spirit boxes along the way here?
Numbers.
I
I heard it's just us.
Just us. Look at that. Anything weird come up on yours?
No, it spelled like L ran and then a bunch of random letters, so I cleared it. And I'm waiting, and I have 2 L's.
Anything come up on yours? All right. Anything on our word list?
On the word list, besides hollowed and sir, we got nothing else.
What was the last one?
A sir?
Sir?
Yeah. S-I-R?
SIO.
Okay, sir.
Interesting.
And I have a question.
Yes.
If we have to pee really bad, what do?
We just passed up every available bathroom.
Well, we should have stopped. I mean, I'm good. I'll hold it. I don't care.
Okay.
You.
When we go up to the next location,
We'll stop before.
well, there's a restaurant bar nearby,
Okay.
so you can always. What's up?
Is there any chance I could go now? I'm sorry.
That's up to you.
Yeah,
so,
give me that stuff. I'll help. I'll
So
do it.
if you leave the alley,
I'm get
make a left
Make a left.
at this first stop sign. Make a right. You're gonna fall into Tommy Condon's. So it's a restaurant. It's got a big green cover on the front of it, so it's pretty long. So that's probably the closest thing. So if you wanted to head out now, by all means, go for it. I'm gonna continue on.
Okay.
All right, so welcome to Philadelphia Alley, by the way. This is not a place where we're going to be spreading out. We're hoping for bleed over. So like we got that Jonathan in 20 at the Pinckney Mansion site. That's what I call bleed over from the previous location. again, I don't expect a whole lot to go on inside the alley. We may get some things in real time, but you're all going to be focused on me for the history. I'm hoping for the bleed over at the next location, which is across the courtyard this way. So kind of keep that in mind. But again, to understand the semantics of the alley, this is a weird place. This used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So we all tell the same story of the same duel because we can prove that it actually happened. But I give you a little bit more detail because you're ghost hunting. You're not listening to campfire marshmallow stories. So let's get into it. There was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you guys hear, look at that, the tourism officers are watching me. So welcome to Friday nights. They're always watching to make sure we're not going all the way down. So we'll see how long they stay up there.
Oh, like you're not allowed to walk down there.
Oh no, I've already been booted out of here.
Really?
Yeah, we talk about that at the end. that's the fun part of the story. As long as we keep things nice and quiet over here, we'll be good to go. We will exit the same way we came back in, just so you know. But anyway, he moves down here. By the way, if you two hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence. It's actually part of his name, Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So you guys get the point. However, let's move on. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. So she has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd decides to come to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. As he's coming into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody was walking by. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph, so Christine, you might want to focus up on this part because this is all about you. You went too far. 9 o'clock. So, with your particular device, it gives us letters. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting RI all the time on your spirit boxes, so I bought Christina's Ouija board device to see if I can get the specific letters, and we have. I've had the device probably 6 to 7 months now. We've had it probably 4 or 5 times, coming up specifically as I'm talking about it. So again, can't make this shit up, guys. I wish I could. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room, and you'll be good to go. Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. Proving his point, he's not after Amanda's cash. So, Amanda gets wind of this, she's moving down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. I'm going to tell you right now, every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Keep that in mind. So we're going to talk more about the whistles later on. But Ralph and Dr. Ladd go some plays together. They can't sit next to each other because
He's just doing something weird, but it said Eric Ruin.
I'll hold that one.
I can't. Yeah, I have an extra much shit.
And we have the name Jack. So,
Eric Ruin Jack.
yeah. All right. So where was it? They go see plays, right? They go see Richard III, Shakespeare. And then they're walking home because they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So we're talking about Richard III on the way home and the new actress that was in it. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. Now,
I heard
Ralph has-
criminal urges as you said that.
Oh, very interesting. Because Ralph went to the newspaper. He put an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of like you're a disgrace to society, kind of mentality. Yeah, Dr. Ladd saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Jeweler's Alley. We're going to sell little shit and somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took through 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air. He shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened in a duel. But Ralph had his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap of the doctor. So the doctor didn't die. He just falls to the ground, wounded. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later on November 2nd, 1786. He did hear the number 2. Hopefully the number 11 is going to be in there. He also heard the number 6, which is very vague. I would want an 80 in front of that to make sure we actually have the full year. So you did hear 2 and 6. So again, vague stuff. I want another connector. But I will tell you that every ghost tour that takes you down here will tell you to listen for the whistles. Obviously, we have the air conditioning running right now, but this place is normally pretty serene and quiet. Even on a busy Saturday afternoon, it's always quiet, aside from that loud, fast air conditioner running right now. So, they will tell you to listen for the whistles. You're using voice recorders right now, or on your video cameras, plus my voice recorder. You don't need to listen to them in real time. If you're going to try this on your own and use your voice recorders from your phones, walking all the way through here, just keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. So again, I do it every single night. We pass my garage on the way here, so I have to pass the alley in order to go to my car. I always throw a whistle, especially since I got booted out of here. Here's the fun part of the story. You guys ready for this?
Among Us, tell them that.
I'll go through it.
I said,
I want to go through it.
tell.
Yeah.
I couldn't find this.
I'll go through it because I'm going to ask what's going on with your devices before we leave. So, he actually has the name Jack. I'm probably most excited about the name Jack, even though I haven't mentioned it yet. It's bleed over from the next location. So, I'm actually really cool with that. So, here's how I got booted out of here. This alley didn't go all the way through this way before it was through out. There was a wall up there. Why? Because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It was cut off. Which means those bricks on that end are older than the ones we're standing on. So, with that being said, those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a 4-hand crank and one of those bricks along with some fingerprint swipes and those bricks down there. You guys have all figured out I'm all about accurate history, right? So I used to take my group all the way through here when I was new at this, the new tourism guy, right? So I know that brick isn't going to draw any activity with your devices because I treat that the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. That's the last place you're going to find him. So my entire group on November 26th of 2020 is huddled around that group. All 10 people waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoot them along because I know nothing's going to happen. And it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was just trying to be respectful, not knowing I was actually out of bounds for tourism. We're not allowed in neighborhoods. So the new neighbor came out screaming. My daughter was on the tour and she thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. I will never work Thanksgiving again a day in my life, just so you guys know. So I didn't work that day. November 28th, Black Friday. I called my partner that I had at the time. I told him what happened, and he said, you can't go that far. You're only allowed to go down halfway. Or reroute your group. So I decided I'm going to reroute the group. But I told that group on November 28th because I didn't believe in the next story. It was just, we'll see what happens. I'm a vampire guy. This is a pirate story. I'm not a pirate person. We'll see what happens. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, oh shit.
Because I heard Anne a minute ago.
We get up there, I told it a little bit I did know about piracy at the time. Keep in mind that was many moons ago. Somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what that means. Real time? I'll let you get your butt shot. I love it. Check me out. Sorry, just had to point that out. But anyway, 300, I write it down, I research it the next day. Turns out we were there on November 28th, 2020, and Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We were starting to go there on her exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, shit, now I gotta learn about pirates. Here's my problem with pirates. It's pirate lore. I have a master's degree in creative writing and research. So trying to piece together pirate lore for a factual paranormal investigation is
Really
difficult.
hard, yeah.
Yes. So half of my library now is books on how to debunk pirates. So again, everything we're about to discuss came from a minimum of 2 resources. You have to imagine with my work, I read a lot of books. So worst case scenario, keep in mind, it's also a hit or miss location. I'll explain why we're there, but it is a hit or miss location. We're either gonna have a lot going on, like what we had at Pinkley Mansion, which I'm super proud of you guys, but we might not have anything at all because she's said to be seen all over town. You're gonna get a great story about a crazy female, a badass pirate, of things about piracy you've never known before. So that's the whole point of why I wanted to keep this inside the route. I do change this up every year, and our last stop is a lot different than what we've been doing. So we have the pirate story to go through. Hopefully some bleed over will come in from your spirit boxes from here, so kind of keep that in mind. You've been recording, Bella, you're going to get a job later. So she's doing fantastic. Anything crazy going on with your devices besides the name Jack, we're going to go this way. Anything, what was the last 4 or 5 terms you showed up?
Catalog, yard, formula, Among Us, each. And then there's an Eric in there.
I don't know who Eric is, but I'm going to find out. Yours was on mute. Any letters?
GKDNOPJPU.
Yeah,
I'm
nothing.
about to reset it.
You heard Anne?
I heard Anne as well as, what was it? Oh, the criminal urges. but
Criminal urges and Anne? Anything?
Nothing for a while. It's mostly static.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear it over here.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go learn about crazy pirates. We're going to go this way.
So it's over here.
Yeah, you do. Sorry. Basically, if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886 that I mentioned, you can tighten those. They're turnbuckles. And it'll tighten the building up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, and it really, but I bring those up is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. You guys have seen them all over town in the shape of pineapples and lion heads and all kinds of Charleston charm bullshit. That's the ones you really want to take a look at to see how crude they are. And the reason why those are the first ones that Charleston put in is because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina, finished in 1713. Again, this building was being constructed at the same time she was coming here, and it took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But again, I don't go into the architecture of it because it just bores the hell out of people, but it is fascinating. If you're into architecture, go ahead and look it up. You're going to have some links tomorrow anyway. But anyway, back to the building. Our story with Anne actually begins in 1708. So kind of follow me back to Ireland for just a second. There's a lot of twists here, so I will slow down on the twist. We're talking about a weird pirate chick, so it's going to get really weird. Anyway, young lady comes here by the name of Anne Cormac with her father from Ireland in 1708. She's with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she had to leave the country? Those of you here that brought your significant others, don't piss off your girlfriends and your wives. So anyway, they'll kick you out of the country. There's no planes in 1708 either, so they came here by boat. But they landed in Georgetown. That's just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. So it's about an hour and a half north. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. So that means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. This is just something she would recognize. For those of you that watch the TV shows, think of the same principle of using a teddy bear to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of mentality, just something she recognizes. Anyway, fast forward, the building's set in 1713, pirates are coming through town in 1715.
Two things I've heard just so far that
Yes.
hand, secret, forgive, roses.
Coming into this.
Hey, I like secret because it's been showing up here in different spirit boxes for probably the past 2 weeks. And the word roses, 59 Church Street where the doctor lived, we know it as the Thomas Rose House.
I heard friends on the way over here twice.
Okay.
Just now I heard the number 795. And then I heard, was it, gosh darn it, 5 people taken.
I heard 2020 and 200,000 close. Trying to get to the 2 o'clock.
Okay. Jacob, you got something?
On our way here, I got anger and dress, and then I just got bounce. And then I've been at a constant 3.5.
We're near electrical pole.
Which, yeah, that makes sense.
So, EMF detectors, don't get excited up in this corner. Again, 2 electrical poles in the corners, and then on this front half, we're going to get the parking meters. So if you explore the back of the lot, you'll get hopefully something out of that. It's not a whole lot. But anyway, back to Anne. So by 1715, pirates were coming through town, and Anne is stoked because she's trying to earn her freedom, just like a man. So she's going to fall in love with one of these pirates. Guy number 1. Yes, I numbered him because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them all. Guy number 1 is James Bonney. You already see where this one's going, right? We've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonney. That's where the pirate name came from. So,
The original.
interesting. However, James Bonney is not Captain Jack Sparrow, like what she was hoping for when they got down to Jamaica. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British, a coward in her eyes. So, we got this loud lady. You might actually have to move. She's super loud. Yeah, we're gonna move. Let's go back to the cement wall.
He doesn't shut up. You're telling him to stop all the time. Hunter.
I heard home and free. I heard free. You heard free too? Free has been popping up a lot.
Alright, so where
We
were we?
both heard free.
It's weird because there's 4 levels. We're working on number 2. Okay, so guy number 2. She falls in love a few years later because she doesn't want the privateer guy, right? So guy number 2 is John Rackham, aka Calico Jack.
There it
That's
goes.
why
I
I'm
heard 4.
So I'm excited about the name Jack that showed up. By the way, Calico Jack is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of. So that's why she's excited, because this is the guy she actually wanted to begin with. He has his own ship, he has his own crew. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew because it's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like the guys, look like the crew, you can be part of the crew.
Bullet.
So she is okay with dressing like a guy, look like a crew, because back home in Ireland, Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice to hide her from his wife. So she's good with this. So she's all aboard, but she's a female in his quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. We're all adults here. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So then they're going to vote Jack right off the ship. So what happens from there is he drops her off at Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. So she goes and has the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to this baby. By the way, none of my research has ever found it. So she comes back dressed as a girl, and this makes Jack pretty pissed off. While she was away giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's gonna go flirting with that pirate crew to piss him off even more. We're on guy number 3, in case she lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females trying to be pirates dressing like males. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know that for sure. But the British found out where they are. They sent an entire fleet of ships to take down one measly pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor is that they were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks against a whole fleet of ships. That's not going to work out very well for them. They get arrested. And as they're being arrested, Jack is being cuffed, and so is she. They're being tied, and she basically looks at him and says, Jack, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up on your spirit boxes a lot, just so you guys know. But anyway, the judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, and he doesn't give a shit that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they shouted out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with his Irish money. He brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Yes, that was 1782 when she passed away. So Mary Reed died a few months later. I think it was exactly 5 months later. In that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates fire from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to call bullshit and say, let's make it romantic. We're talking pirates. It's scurvy. Why the hell not? Bumpy and gross, right? So, 2 things I left out of here, and then I'll give you a handful of questions that you can ask that we've gotten answers to. But 2 main things are the names of Anne Bonny's parents. Notice I called them the father and the mistress. I did not give you their names. So, again, you can normally ask those and get the answers if she's here. You can also ask the name of Calico Jack's ship. So I left that out purposely. So those are the 2 main ones. Side questions, the color of Anne Bonny's hair. You can ask what city she grew up in Ireland, like she'll give you that. And anything else you want to ask. This is one where you can poke the bear a little bit. So again, we don't need to be nasty, but we can kind of, hey, Anne, give us some shit, right? So we're talking about a female badass pirate. So with this space, again, we still have a lot of cars in here. Somebody is in that vehicle, kind of chilling. I don't know what they're doing, but we're definitely going to stay away from the cars in here. Tours love to come through here as well, so again, keep in mind with your cameras, not to be filming them directly. Bella. I'm trying to get something out of you. You haven't said a word all night. I just want to go, what? What did I do? Anything. Like, all I got was a... So, definitely help her listen in with that. So we have gotten some weird anomalies with your specific camera on top of that garbage can, like a guy just sitting there, like crossed, like very interesting stuff. Have you seen anything out of that camera yet?
When
The
we
church.
Were, when we were, yeah, right in front of the church, there was like these tents, and it looked like there was someone like up there, kind of like slaying, kind of.
Which church are you talking?
It was
Behind the
one
picnic
by the
house.
by the house. There was
Oh,
that
so the
church
5 church restaurant.
over to and then like there was like some tents, kind of like in the back there,
Okay.
like behind the wall next to the
Interesting.
trash can.
And we got it on recording.
And there was like a shape,
Okay.
And then there were like a couple shapes, but I think it was mostly shadows, like kind of like floating in the air around, and they would like stretch out and stuff. But the
It
most,
will pick up shadows.
yeah,
just
but
so you know.
the most consistent one so far was that one on top of like that shed or whatever.
It was also the most human.
Yeah, it looked very human.
And I can't believe I forgot to tell you this, especially with you here asking me about it. You 2 cannot be facing each other when you're recording. That flashes light to get the depth perception, and that picks it up.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So I can't watch it either. So if it does come up, I'll definitely put the markers in there so you're not going straight to those markers. So again, my apologies. That was my mistake. Again, that camera's still new to me, so I always forget to throw in that, like, hey, don't point those at each other. I can't watch it kind of mentality.
know that I have.
Spirit boxes, anything else going on with yours?
Still 1.1, which makes sense.
1.1 is actually natural from the Earth. So that's why I go straight to that 2.5 for those of you that have another EMF detector. Any other words?
Just effectively, and I just got the lead.
I got a quote unquote 11 and 2. I don't know if that's supposed to be 10 up to 13. I don't know.
No, 11 and 2 is the day that the doctor died, November 2nd.
And I also got a very clear, and this is a while ago while we were talking, a very clear meltdown. Yeah, that was weird. It was just like,
Eliza, it was
it's so wild because you get all the static, then you hear something like super clear. You're like, oh my god.
I was thinking about names. I thought I heard Grover. And I was thinking about where in Ireland. I thought I heard Line, like on a record or something.
I can see where you're going with that, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Again, it's a bit of a stretch. It'll come out Claire's Day.
Okay.
Trust me. That's the one that actually comes out pretty clear. Again, I'm stalling because of this person in the car. I don't know what's going on. Again, when we're out here filming and kind of spreading out, they usually get out and say, "What are you doing over here in the church parking lot?" This actually belongs to St. Philip's Church. We're just here because this is close proximity. So, what do you two got going on with yours? Are you listening to?
Yeah.
Mostly static right now.
Okay.
90% static.
Anything crazy coming out of your camera?
No, I'm trying to stay away from
Not always a
nothing.
real-time moment. All right.
Violence.
Again, with this being a hit or miss, I'll kind of know within the first 5 minutes. I'm excited about the 11 and 2. It seems like we're getting more bleed over from there than what we're getting about Ann.
Yeah, I haven't heard any names. I haven't heard anything about Ireland.
I mean, we can ask questions if we want.
Let's go for
Like-
something simple. Ann, if you're here, just give us your hair color, please. You know how all of these little boxes work? And the color is red. I mean, that's a pretty obvious answer, right? So it's simply short, one syllable, easy to give.
PH. I got the initials PH.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so loud. This looks like prom or something.
Looks like everybody's just leaving.
Yeah, this looks like a prom or something.
Yeah. We're at church.
Oh,
They were
like
Saturday
nighttime
mass.
mass. Okay, something like.
Yeah, that's why I try not to disrupt business over here. Sometimes the clergy will come over and ask us to leave, kind of thing. So I just got to be respectful. That's all.
Yeah.
I got bored. I think my favorite word that I got myself.
I'm excited about Jack. Hopefully we get something.
Yeah. What was the name of Calico Jack's ship?
Do you just tell us the name of his ship?
Dixie.
Dixie? Dixie
heard-
what?
I just heard Dixie.
That's all I heard.
I got disease.
What about your dad?
Could that have been the fever?
No, not Jesus.
Ghost of Hunter's Pass?
What was his name?
What color was your hair, girl? Yeah, like nothing right now.
It's an interesting list, I'm sure.
Money, large quantity of money. Girlie, what color was your hair?
Oh, it's got a freaking thing on it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
nice.
locked.
Oh, come on, son.
You gonna go again?
No, I'm just saying. I could have just waited until we got here.
You still keep behind it.
What was the name of Calico Jack's ship? Yeah. Run away.
Run away. Is that a message or is that part of the ship name?
I don't know. Well, we should maybe let him know.
Yeah.
We'll get one or two little tidbits, but his name always pops up first. This has been going on for probably the past 3 weeks. You can go through every. All right, you two are excited. You don't know. Nobody approaches me unless they got something.
Well, we asked what the name of the ship was, and we
Okay.
heard Dixie.
No.
Yeah, didn't think so. And then we asked again, and we heard immediately Runaway.
It's more like a real-time moment. None of that 348.
I just heard doctor actually.
That number sequence you gave me doesn't mean anything.
Oh, we also heard large quantities of money.
Yes.
The funny thing is, on the
quantities of
spirit
money.
boxes, we get a lot of like funny terms, like she's messing with us, like girls just want to have fun, material girl. Like we'll get a lot of those type of songs in here.
I heard a girls just want to have fun.
I
actually.
just heard what was it, the TikTok song, the I Made You Look one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's her name? I can't remember.
I can't ever think of it.
Dixie's
That's not Megan Trainor.
Doctor's good. Obviously, we're getting a lot of bleed over from over there. I'm interested in that pH that you heard, so I was waiting to see if something else was going to come up with that. So I have.
I heard a couple of other letters, but it was like ODX, like none of it really spelled anything.
That pH that you heard specifically.
Yes.
The funny thing is I'll explain it before we leave to everybody, but a lot of times we'll get kind of like a preamp of where we're going next.
Okay.
And again, it's not bleed over. It's almost like they came and visited, like, hey, wrap it up over here. I got shit to say over there. So again, it's weird. So that pH is somewhat relevant for our next space. I wanted to see if something else popped up.
Okay.
I'm not excited, but it is noteworthy.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. Bella, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you got going on in here? You're puzzling to me. I can normally figure people out like really, really fast. You're stumping me.
I need more from you, Bella.
I know, right? I know I didn't give you like the most exciting job, but when you do find shit on that thing and you can't make it out and you can not debunk it in real time, like it's cool stuff. Like
Yeah,
you can make it
'cause
like
the
you can
one that I showed her, like on top of the thing, it was pretty cool. It
Because
really,
it almost looked like it was dancing back and forth.
It's gonna wiggle.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were. It was like I'm not gonna sit on the ground, but it was like they were sitting like with their legs sprawled out, like almost in like a painting type pose.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I'll definitely look at it. I will tell you the reason why I have that is from our next space. Somebody brought the big one, and we had actually had a full 8-minute interaction. Like when I say interaction, like please raise your right hand, and it raised its right hand.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I dug so hard to make this happen. So
That's really cool.
yeah, it was really interesting.
And I'm just afraid to like point too much because I don't want to get like too many.
I know I scare you guys about like don't point
Wait.
at certain people and
Look at that. Check that out. There's no one over there. Wait.
Is it the sign though?
Oh, maybe.
So what happens
Yeah.
is when I find something
Well,
on there that I
it's-
can't debunk
I think it's picking up the trash can.
it's a depth perception. So anything in front of
Yeah.
something else is going to pick up. Think of it that way. And your shadow is an absence of light. That's why it picks up your shadows. So with this camera, whenever I'm going through the video, if I find something, I take a screenshot and lighten it up to make sure it's not a sign, it's not a tree, it's not something in front of somebody else. So this
Gotcha.
one takes the most time because it's a lot of screenshotting.
And
To
there's
make-
a person walking over there, Belle.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that?
those are church people coming over. All right, let me start to round everybody up over here. All right, guys, let's round it up. Let's see what we got going on.
We got we were listening for red, but we got yellow.
I was listening for red too.
Yellow is the color of 59 Church Street, the Thomas Rose House.
Oh, we're getting a lot of that stuff.
Yes, you are. All right.
We heard I thought I heard successor.
Okay. Interesting. The Charles bit, I'm going to look for more if something pops up. What did we get out of that other spirit box that I gave you?
So, he asked, he asked if Jack is really a girl.
Yes, no question.
Yeah.
I would need something a little bit more specific. So, but nice attempt. Anything other words that we need to know about? Top 3 words. Jacob.
Top 3 words: substance, disease, and border.
I like disease. It's just not enough. Again, it's not specific enough. Here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the letters PH. I can't explain that until we get to the next location. I'm excited about roses. Secret has been coming up here a lot. 11 and 2 is very exciting because again, these are all doctor terms. I told you we were going to get bleed over from over there.
Yeah, I'm getting diagnosed treat.
both came through.
11 and 2 is the date of the doctor's death. Charles, Eliza's husband Charles is buried across the street. So sometimes we get extra clues relative to Eliza Lucas, the second wife. It's almost like he introduces himself and then tells us stuff about his wife. The word doctor, large amounts of money, and the color yellow. So I'm excited about a lot of things in this location. I just don't think we're getting a lot about Anne Bonny. I think we're getting a lot of doctory terms. So again, it's a bleed over. So let's go over the very quick answers of this location. While I break out the tablet, there's another reason why I give you the heated warning at the top of our tour. This is one of those spaces. So about a year and a half ago now, I brought my group to the back, which is where I normally start, and the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost. Like he's ready to go down, he's fainting. So I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't fall on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We brought him over to that wall so he can sit down. I got him a bottle of water. What do you got?
Rubik? Like a Rubik Cube?
Like a Rubik's Cube? Yeah. Interesting. He was feeling better, so I told the story that I already told you about Anne Bonny. This used to be my last stop where I said, all right, guys, go spread out. I would tell like 3 stories here, so there's a big finale. But them 2 guys pulled me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed as males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. So it made sense to all of us as to why one of them about passed out the minute we entered the space. Again, this is the weird shit that I see and why I have to give those heated warnings. Psychics and mediums normally won't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. I know we didn't get a whole lot of EMF out of that space, but I've seen that space average between 18 to 22 milligauss. The highest I think we had was a 10 that came out of his device. So with that said, let's go over the very quick answers, and I'll explain the next space because it is a lot different than what we've been doing, and yes, it will be our last stop. But you guys will fully understand why it will be our last stop once we get there. This is one of the few pictures you can find of Anne Bonny with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare a breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. Told you, she was a badass. So you can see her hair color is obviously red, so that's the piece that you guys would normally listen for. So my nose is super itchy. So when you guys are videoing me, like, why is he picking his nose all night? It's just been super itchy all night long. The names of her parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. What isn't another subliminal trick like the George Washington thing, just we just happen to have a secondary Mary in the story. Mary Brennan was also a servant for the Cormack family. That's a whole other scandal that we're not going to cover. This is not relevant to our space. But yeah, that could be another whole 30-minute story. Calico Jack. I also like to show you Calico Jack because everybody wants to see what Johnny Depp was based off of. Calico Jack, he was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. So his father was a tailor, which means textiles are very important to the Rackham family. Calico Jack translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. I don't expect the word Kingston to come out of your 2 spirit boxes. It would come out of yours. His would pick up more disembodied voices, more so than just radio chatter. I will tell you that one of the first nights we used that, you guys actually have all the tours where you had super active stuff going on over the first few nights. I'm packing things up because, again, this was our last stop, and it was a really light night. Like, everybody was disappointed, and I was like, oh shit, how did this go? Because I can't control the ghost. But he hands it to me, and he goes, pirate, plain as day. I've studied English for the past, 20 years. So I know phonetic sounds. It wasn't like the Pittsburgh Pirates won the game. It wasn't part of a sentence. It was just, I'm a pirate, and we all heard it. However, that device does not record, but he was next to the thermal imaging camera. So he had the audio from that. So I was stoked. I was pretty happy. Definitely disembodied. I can't prove it that it was disembodied because of the way that it was recorded, but you get my point. Definitely not part of a phonetic sentence, if you're getting my gist. So the next space, this one's going to be fun for you guys. So first off, has anybody ever heard of the Estes method? Does anybody know what that is? You look a little bit like you've heard of it.
Yeah.
You guys watch the TV shows, right? You guys, have you seen where they blindfold people and they put the noise canceling headphones on? It's called the Estes method. So here's what's going to happen. You okay with me blindfolding her?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just gotta make sure. So the 2 people that have spirit boxes are going to be blindfolded, and they're going to have noise canceling headphones, and they're also not going to know the history of the space. And then we're going to go back, and we're going to basically interrogate them as if they're the ghost that we're hunting down, and they're going to tell us exactly what they're hearing in real time. So this either works out really well, or it works out really bad. So I will tell you, like, I also rate every single investigation that I do out here, so that way you guys know how active everything was. Right now, we're running on, I would say, average to slightly above average based on some of the things that you guys are hearing. You actually were worried about your capability in the beginning. You're doing very well, so just so you know. You're also hearing a lot of good things, so I'm excited about that. But again, we're right around that average to slightly above, if I had to guess right now, and that's without my spot checks being done yet. We're going to be walking about 2.5 blocks, so there's going to be no reason to record video at that point, but definitely listen in on your spirit boxes. EMF detectors, you guys get the gist. We're going to be on the street, so you can ignore them. Christina, you're going to need to scale back a little bit. But when we get into that park, again, I'll situate everybody so that way we're all set to go, and I'll kind of explain the Estes method a little bit more. Are you worried about this? You look a little worried.
No, I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to remember where I've heard of it from.
The Estes method was actually started with the Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado.
Okay.
That's why it's called the Estes method. So kind of keep that in mind. Guys, this is actually a lot of fun, and not a lot of people get the opportunity to do this. So again, when you guys show up to me at the beginning of this, I kind of have to cherry pick, like, who's going to get the red spirit boxes, because those are going to be my people that are going to go under. With that, that's why I cherry picked, the two of you. Like, you guys were very conversational, but they also showed up before you guys. That's very interesting.
Said office, help.
Growing, help, and crops.
Crossed?
Crops.
Crops. Oh, by the way, we did get sugar and rice on his word list, and those would have been major crops for pirates. So I'm excited about that as well, especially the word sugar. Sugarcane was very big in Jamaica and Nassau. So again, kind of keep that in mind. I'm stoked about your guys' word list that's coming out and the things that you guys are hearing, and it's proving relevant to my bleed over theory of things coming over here straight from Philadelphia Alley. Even though you have the pirate term, so he has Jack, Rice. It's almost like they chose him to talk about, and then they chose you two to give us the doctory terms. It's weird.
Does it matter? Like I'm a doctor. Like, would that have? Would they ever get onto you because
I don't
of
know.
something like that?
Yeah.
It's a possibility. I've had people come in here from other teams, and they go by like nicknames, like my name's Boo, and that kind of thing. And some people like, well, my real name is Thomas. Would that mean that Eliza's son Thomas might know my name, even though you've been calling me Boo all night? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. I don't have those answers. You know, I'm not the Google of paranormal. I just probably have more experience than your damn TV show host because I've been out here a lot longer.
Just got the last word. Was bad.
Was bad.
Once you start talking.
I'm saying.
Jeez.
What's that?
That's weird.
That is weird.
Is it together or separately?
Separate.
Separate.
Was space bad.
Oh, but it is together. Like I meant on
Yeah.
one
Yeah. Oh
screen.
yeah. Then yes.
That's weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before. All right, let's go learn about a bloody author, and that's the only thing that you two are going to know about this whole situation.
Oh boy.
All right, I know, right? The blindfolds. I do not want your eye movers back. So those are yours. I will take it from you before we leave the space. It does have a wrapper. There are two plots. Lift up on the nose piece and tear it. It goes two little loops around your ears, not all the way around your head. So those two go to you. The noise canceling headphones I'm also going to hand to you. I'll let you play with them while we're giving the history 10 feet away from you. So basically, in a nutshell, these guys open up like this. Get a feel for them because you're going to have to put them on after you're blindfolded. So kind of get a gist for those. Everything's been sanitized, so everybody knows. So in a nutshell, they're not going to know the history, guys. But you guys, the rest of you, are going to know the history. We're obviously going to do an Estes method session. And when we come back, after I give you the brief history, we're only going to go over to that statue, that Greek monument. It's a 5-minute history. The fun thing about this whole place is I don't know everything yet. I've only been coming here since November. So they've been teaching me things of the people going underneath the Estes method. Do you guys understand like why we're not giving them any information whatsoever? All right. We're gonna let them play with their stuff. You guys got it? No, so that's an ear hole.
I don't know what's up with this word list, but it's fun as hell.
See what I can find. All right, guys, come on over this way. This is the fun part about what I do too, is because now I get to take up the spaces in an area where, you know, a lot of tours like to come through. First time I came here, I had no idea what we were going to find. Funny thing is, she's already got the year of this specific thing. First time I came here, the young lady heard, I only had 2 people. She heard 1829, the name Henry, and then the name Tim showed up on the word list. Behind me is Henry Timrod, born in 1829. Again, can't make this stuff up. So I went, hot damn, there's my ghost. Quick history on this guy. He was sick through most of his life. He's obviously old enough to fight in the Civil War. He goes out to the battlefield to fight for the Confederates. His comrades realize he's too sick to fight. So they sent him home, knowing he was a writer, and said, go be the voice of the war. So he came home, started writing poetry about what was going on the battlefield. He became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. Pretty prestigious title for us writers. A few years go by, and he has a son. You guys are going to know the history of the son? They're not. Son's name was Willie, born on Christmas Eve, died 9 months later. Obviously some big of a tragedy for Henry and his wife Katie. So a few years go by, he's still mourning and not writing as much. And his friend, Pauline Hamilton, and I believe it was you guys that heard the PH, Paul Hayne Hamilton. There's part of the initials. I'd be more convinced if we had a double H. But anyway, he says, dude, you're not writing enough? Go out to my cottage. You'll have plenty of space to work out there in private, finish the piece you're supposed to be working on, and that's where he wrote his last words. Beholder of brief mortality, basically meaning person of short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in the form of a blood stain. He had tuberculosis for most of his life. So that blood stain is still there, and it looks like a man writing. We call it the Blood Book. They show it one day a year at the Charleston Library Society. You have to be a member of the society to see it, but the internet is beautiful. So I'm going to show you the page, and then we're going to go give them a few tips on how we're going to go and get this down. When we go over there, I will tell you we're going to stay pretty tight next to them, so that way the other tours don't see what the hell we're doing. This is the Blood Book. You can see where the hand is screwed. So that's obviously the blood stain that he put on, and then Beholder of Brief Mortality. So let's get over to them, because it looks like they've already put all their gear on, and I did not want them to do that yet. So let's go get them. This is the only thing that I keep track of time with, so I'm going to keep them under for 10 minutes only. When we're done and we tap you out, sorry to touch your family members and loved ones, I'm going to have a family member tap you out on the leg, so expect that tap. It doesn't mean that something is going wrong. I also keep an eye on your breathing. I want to make sure you're not hyperventilating, because these things can happen. Is your ear hole too big or something?
No, I'm okay.
So expect that. If I tap you out, it's because that 10 minutes is up. It's not going to feel like 10 minutes to you, just so you know. Trying to think the other things. Oh, you don't need to shout. We can hear you. So most people go under, and you're going to have both earbuds in. And when you guys set your volume, I'm going to have a family member, whoever you came with, set your volume and set the device aside so we know you're not cheating. I've seen that in the past, and it's way too obvious when people are doing that. So you guys get the point, right? So obviously you're going to set her volume. You're going to give them thumbs up, thumbs down. Like they turn it up, turn it down, and then good. You guys get the point, so that way they know the hand signals. But again, tell us everything you're hearing in real time. Don't forget to talk. Some people go under, and it's like 5 minutes went by and nothing happened. We're like, are you hearing stuff? Like we tap them out, we're like, yeah, you're all kinds of stuff. We're like, you got to tell us what the hell you're hearing. I'm asking questions. And we should also keep in mind this is an okay situation. I may ask yes or no questions based on what's going on around us. So it's okay to answer yes, no. So again, you're not going to know what questions I'm asking. So again, if we get a yes or a no, and I know what the correct answer is, obviously we have
So
something
just
on
respond to
whatever you can. And again, keep it to a whisper. Video camera people, I want you in nice and tight, especially with this one. So get a view of both of them. Obviously, they're going to want to see this because they're not going to know what all the questions, and you're also not going to know the history until you guys get your audio. Because I'm not going to give it to you.
So far I've heard, are you ready, Mary, and fatal infection.
I'm more excited about the Remember the 29 or something you heard about.
Yeah, Remember 29.
Remember 29.
And then I heard April later.
I don't know. I'll write it down. It might be something. I'm not sure yet. The 29 is definitely something. Okay. So, blindfolds. Loved ones, get in there with their spirit boxes. So that way you can move the volume up and down for them.
The dial near the
Yeah.
Do you need me to hand you your headphones?
So there's a. So she has a purchase of the right here.
Alright, there's your headphones.
Volume. This way turn it.
I'll start turning it up in a second. But that's just pull them apart. This is the there. There.
see though.
No. I think you
Yeah, this is
do.
not
Here, I'll
easy.
put them on you.
This is why I had you guys wanting to play with it. You got it backwards. There you go.
Thank you. And you can adjust them however you need. Alright, I'm gonna start turning it up, okay? You let me know when it's good. Okay.
No clapping at the end of this either. That's a cheesy tour thing.
That's good. Oh, okay, okay. Up. My bad. Wait, I'm getting it. Okay.
You set it down. Okay.
I'm still standing.
Perfect. So you guys got your cameras ready? You're good to go? Alright, perfect. I usually give them a 30-second startup, so it's 11:07 on the dot. So that will be 11:17. We're going to pull them out. So if we are looking to speak to Henry Timrod, I need you to confirm that you're here by telling us what your occupation is. Keep an eye on your word list, Jacob. We sometimes get the answers over there as well.
All I've gotten is French.
Just dismissed.
So, Henry Timrod, please tell us what your occupation is.
Charles.
Henry Timrod, do we need to just dive right into your family?
I had just heard Maria.
Breslin hasn't said anything.
Yeah, she's shaking her.
So D.
Henry Timrod, you know how this works. We got two boxes here with red lights. You can communicate to us through that. The two people with blindfolds on can hear you. Please tell us your occupation. Well, I think she's whispering, so you might have to sit next to her to translate.
Alright.
She is really whispering. Henry Timrod, let's go straight into your wife. Tell us something about your wife. Her name, birthday. Henry Timrod, you're being very quiet tonight.
Drop. Rose.
Rose again. By the way, that house is 0.3 miles that way. Exactly. We often get things relative to the house.
Something about mistakes.
Mustangs?
Mistakes.
Mistakes. What mistakes did you make, Mr. Timrod? His son died October 23rd. Can you tell us what month?
Boys.
He was a boy. Can you tell us what his name was?
Uniform.
What was your son's name?
Easy mommy.
Jacob, if you get any words, let us know.
Actively?
Tell us your son's name. I'm not convinced that you're here yet.
Somebody.
I'm not convinced that you're actually here with us, Mr. Timrod. If you're not Mr. Henry Timrod,
More money in the bank.
Stretch.
tell us what your name is if you're not Henry Timrod. Is there a memorial here for you? Wow, that thing's going crazy, isn't it?
It's random letters though.
Okay.
Nothing.
You have to scale it back a little bit.
Furthermore,
Old. Provide resources.
Henry, let's be specific. Give us some family members, some details about them. Your son, your wife. We're asking a lot of questions here tonight. About 4 minutes
20
under.
people.
4 minutes under, so everybody knows. Henry Timrod. Let's go back to your occupation. Let's keep it simple. What did you do for a living? What were you paid to do? Can you tell us how old you were when you passed away? He was 38. So yeah. She's really not giving us much.
Discover.
She's gonna be like popping out.
Downtown.
Henry Timrod. You need to give us some kind of specifics here.
Gotten bad.
What's gotten bad? This is how I was supposed to get words out of Bella, by the way. Work. Henry.
Intelligent virus.
Henry, we need some specifics. If you're not Henry Timrod, we need a specifics of who you are.
Relationship.
What do we normally hear out of the church?
Whistles.
What was it?
Whistles.
It's relative to Dr. Ladd's house. Still. Okay.
A little further. Make it a little further.
It's two blocks away.
6. Stone.
I had a question in my head and I lost it. Oh, what do we normally hear from the church? What sound do we get out of the church? This has been an answer pretty much on a nightly basis. And it will come up. We've had it spelled out on yours. But the word is obviously values. What do we normally hear coming out of the church, Henry Timrod?
Here's the plan.
Challenge.
Lad stuff.
Traffic.
95.
That's 3 first numbers of the address. 59. Do we have Dr. Ladd here with us? Because your house was nearby?
Maria.
Again?
It's the second time she said
Yeah.
that.
Conversation. Right to the top.
Dr. Ladd, if this is you that's here, because we can't see you, give us something specific about your history. It's because it's close to the EMF.
Apartment?
He rented a room.
So whatever. Say whatever.
Too big. Again, this is all big stretches, just so everybody knows. Like, I'm not super stoked about anything. I'm trying to piece it together, and it's all very vague. I would like to know who's here. Give us a first name, please. I'm looking for Henry Timrod or Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Tell us what you hear out of the church.
He became afraid.
How it ought to be.
There's that sound. Henry, what are we hearing right now? What just came out of the church?
Innocent.
I don't think we've ever ran that during one of these sessions, so kudos to you. Everybody keeps it on mute.
Look you in the face. Look you in the face.
We're at 8 minutes. Henry Timrod, we are running out of time. You got to give us something specific, or else we're going to call it.
Baby.
How old was your son?
It's in the air.
I got hidden.
No, he's not hidden. Where is your son buried?
The people.
The rich.
The rich.
Leather.
I got frame.
Sound like machete.
Machete.
Consultation.
Dirt floor machete.
She got consultation too. A weird sound.
Walks.
All right, Henry, I'm going to call this one. You haven't given us anything. All right, family members, let's go ahead and tap them off. So we're at about 9 minutes total.
I got Ron. Whoever Ron is.
Video cameras, let's go ahead and put them to a stop. So first off,